For the materials, you're going to need some 4-ply cotton yarn. You can choose any color or colors of your choice. I'm going to use this beige for basically the bouquet section. And then I'm going to have a white 4-ply cotton yarn for this first sort of flowery dainty section here. And then the wrap with the blue or cyan yarn just here. And then you'll need different colors for your roses. And of course, for sunflowers, you need the yellow and the brown. And then you will also need some green for the leaves, but those are all up to you and you can choose those colors according to your preferences there. Then you will also need a 1.9mm hook. That's what I use, but you can feel free to work all the way up from a 1.75mm hook to a 3mm hook. So here's a 3mm hook that I could use if I wanted to. And then you will also need a pair of cutters. You'll need a sewing needle or two, so I've got two here with me. Then you'll also need some fiber filling, and that will stuff the inside of your flower bouquet. You might need a keychain, or you can just make your own yarn chain here. And finally, you will need a hot glue gun, something that is able to just glue the back of your flowers and stick them straight onto your bouquet. Okay, let's get started. So here I just have my beige colored yarn, as you can see, and I'm just going to make a magic ring, and I'm going to do this with my 1.9mm hook. Once I have done that, I am going to just make 6 single crochet stitches inside my magic ring. And for those of you who want to know, and you guys can crochet any way that you like, but for me, I usually go yarn under first and then yarn over. That's just for me, but you might do something completely different. You might do a yarn over, or yarn under. But for me, I make a yarn under and then a yarn over. Okay, so I have 4 single crochet stitches here, and I'm going to make another 2 just to finish off this magic ring. So here they are right there. And then that yarn tail at the back of your magic ring, you're going to pull that ever so gently, but also nice and tightly until your magic ring just closes there. And then you're going to grab that hook, insert it into that very first stitch that you made, and then from there we're going to crochet in a spiral. So this time we're not making any slip stitch and chain ones to finish off our rounds. We're just going to crochet continuously in the round. So this now here is round number 2, and for round number 2 we're going to make 6 increases. And for those of you who do not know, an increase is just where we make 2 single crochet stitches inside 1 stitch. So there was my first stitch here, and I made 2 single crochet stitches inside that. Here I'm going to make the second increase, so 1 and 2. Here's the third, 1 and 2, and we'll continue on until we finish our 6 increases to give us a total of 12 stitches in the round. And there we go right there. So we've finished round 2. Now for round 3, fairly simple here. We're just going to make a single crochet stitch followed by an increase, 1 and 2. And we're just going to repeat that a total of 6 times. So we have 5 left to do. Single crochet first and then an increase. So why don't you go ahead and complete round 3, and then we'll come back ready to start round 4. Not forgetting single crochet and then increase a total of 6 times. And now we're up to our round number 4. So this is where we're going to continue with our increases, but we're going to make this time 2 single crochet stitches, 1, and here's the second, followed by an increase. And here is our increase right there. So let's do that again. Single crochet again for the second one, and then an increase to finish off that pattern there. Okay, we're going to repeat that again a total of 6 times. We have 4 to go, and then we're on to round 5. Just finished round 4 there, and here is our start for round 5. We're still increasing, so we need 3 single crochet stitches. Here's number 3, followed by an increase, 1, and in the same stitch making that second single crochet stitch. Let's do it again. So 1, 2 single crochet stitches, 3 single crochet stitches, and then of course our increase. Let's repeat that another 4 times to finish this round, and then we'll start the next round. Round 5 is now complete, and I think you're getting the hang of this now. So what I'm going to do is put on the screen here round 6 and round 7. Round 6 is where you have 4 single crochet stitches and an increase all the way around, and then round 7 will be where you have 5 single crochet stitches and an increase, again 6 times in total. And you'll finish off to where you'll have 42 stitches in total. So why don't you pause the video, and then once you finish round 6 and 7, we'll come back and start the next round. And round 7 here is now complete. Guys, don't forget, you feel free to use a stitch marker if you like. I'm actually just not using one because I never really use one anyway, but feel free to use one if you get lost or you need to keep track of all your stitches. I know as a beginner it can be a little bit tough to maintain the number of stitches that you have in each round, so feel free to do that if you haven't already. Okay, for rounds numbers 8 and 9, we are going to be working in these back loops, as you can see here. So for those of you who don't know, here's your full stitch. You have the front loop here, and then you also have the back loop underneath here, or just behind it. Okay, so we need in rounds number 8 42 back loop single crochet stitches. So as you can see, I'm just working in the back loops, and I'm working all the way around, 1 single crochet stitch in each back loop of the stitch in the previous round. So I'm going to do this now for 2 rounds in total, rounds 8 and 9. So we'll come back after round 9. And there we go. As you can see, we've worked in the back loops for 2 rounds. Here was the first and this was the second as we come along here. Now for rounds 10 all the way up to round 15, we're going to be working in both the front and back loops, as you can see here, and we're just making single crochet stitches just regularly, so nothing has changed here. We're making single crochet stitches all the way around for another 6 straight rounds. So again, don't forget to use your stitch marker if you want to keep track of where you start and finish. I usually like to keep track of it because this is where I started the back loop, so I know here as well is where I'm going to end the round. All right, so let's pause the video and then come back after round number 15. And there we go. So we're up to round number 15 right now. As you can see, it looks pretty good. So now what we need to do is round number 16, and this is where we're going to start our decrease round. Now there are 2 types of decreases, and we're going to just make the one type of increase, which I'll show you very shortly. So first of all, what we need to do is make 5 single crochet stitches. So here's number 2, number 3, number 4, and finally number 5. And here is now where we begin our invisible decrease. Now an invisible decrease is where you work your hook into the front loop of the first stitch and then the front loop of the very next stitch. Then you will pull the yarn through those 2 front loops and pull it through to make that decrease, that very nice invisible decrease. It looks good and it really brings them together. So now you're going to repeat this another 6 times. So 1, 2, 3, 4, and number 5, and then of course your decrease here, front loop, pull the yarn through and pull the yarn through, just like that. Okay, repeat this another 4 times and then we will start round number 17. Okay, so round number 17 now, we're going to make 4 single crochet stitches, 1, 2, 3, and 4, and then of course our invisible decrease. So here it is. Here's the invisible decrease, just like that. Let's do it one more time. 1, 2, 3, and number 4 single crochet stitches. And then here, front loop, pull the yarn through and finish off that invisible decrease. Finish round 17 now, and then we'll come back and begin the next couple of rounds. For round number 18 now, we are going to make this time 3 single crochet stitches and a decrease. So that's my second single crochet. Here's the 3rd stitch, then a decrease, just like that. And let's do it again. 1 single crochet stitch, 2 single crochet stitches, 3 single crochet stitches, and a decrease. So let's complete this another 4 times till we finish this round, and then for the next round we're going to do something a little different. Just finish that round right there, the 3 single crochet stitches and a decrease for that entire round. So once we have that, this is what your bouquet should be looking like so far, and we are going to be putting in some fiber filling. So fill this up as much as you can, compress it in there, use a pair of cutters or whatever to really push it in there. Sometimes I like to use it because it helps to condense all of the stuffing together. And once you've done that, we're going to begin the next round. And here we are ready to begin the next round now. So for this round, we are actually going to be making a total of 12 invisible decreases. So let's start here. We have 24 stitches in the round currently, and we need to decrease it all the way up until we have 12 only. So here is the first invisible decrease. And if your stitches space is a little bit large like that, what I'll get you to do is pull this yarn tail just so that the loop on the hook is not as big. So again, let's do that again. So invisible decreases, a total of 12. So that's 1 for me. And make sure you get in those front loops. I've kind of skipped a few of those yarn threads there. So this is number 2. Here is number 3. And we're going to do this a total of 12 times. Number 4. So let's come back once we've finished the 12. Here's my number 5, etc., etc. Okay, so we've just finished the 12 decreases there to finish that round, and now we are going to continue on decreasing. We are actually going to make another 6 decreases for this next round, so we should end up with 6 single crochet stitches in the next round at the end of all of these 6 decreases. And remember, they're always going to be those invisible decreases again. So remember, it's the front loop. Let's try and get in that front loop only, and then front loop of the next stitch, pull the yarn through to make those decreases. So that's 1 for me. Here is number 2. Here will be number 3, number 4, number 5, and finally number 6. Now for me, I'm quite happy with how much fiber filling I have entered already into the body of my bouquet. And you should be left with a very tiny hole down here. And this is great because in the very next round, we're actually going to be making some increases. And we're only going to be making the increases in the front loops of our next 6 stitches. So in each stitch, as you can read along the bottom here, we are going to be making 3 double crochet stitches inside 1 front loop. So here is my first double crochet stitch. Wrap the yarn again, come in the front loop only, and complete that double crochet stitch. Wrap the yarn again, enter into the front loop only, and there we have 3 double crochet stitches in 1 front loop stitch. And we're going to repeat that a total of 6 times until we have 18 double crochet stitches in the round. So I'll let you guys do that. Pause the video and come back once you've finished that. Okay, so as you can see, I've finished those 18 double crochet stitches. So that was 3 double crochet stitches in 1 front loop stitch, of which we had 6. All right, so I'm going to continue crocheting in a spiral now, and this is my first stitch from that last round, 1, 2, 3. And all I'm going to be doing is 4 complete rounds of 18 single crochet stitches. So this is where I begin that very next round. And after I've completed 18, I'll be right here finishing it off, and then I'll have another 3 rounds of 18 to go. So 4 rounds in total of 18 single crochet stitches. So again, pause the video and let's come back once we've finished all of that. And there we go, we've just finished those 4 rounds. So all we're going to do now is just skip one of these stitches, come into the next stitch, insert your hook there, and just make a slip stitch. And this will help even out your level, I guess, of the end of your bouquet. And once you've done that, you'll just pull the yarn through a little bit. You'll end up weaving this in a bit later inside here. So this is all good for now. And then look at that, we've made a little bit of the bouquet. So now we need to finish this off and put some of the wrapping around it, and we're going to be doing this in 2 different colors. I'm going to be choosing white first on the inside wrap and then blue on the outside wrap, or cyan if you will. I'm actually not going to choose where we began going into the back loops, only leaving our front loops here. I'm actually going to choose maybe a different point over here. So I'm going to do this so that I can go straight around that and it won't be obvious to see the level difference here. So that's the reason why I'm starting over here a little bit away from it. So all I'm going to do is I'm going to wrap the yarn and pull it through just like that. Then I'm going to chain 1, and once I've chained 1, I am going to, just like we did over here, we're going to make double crochet stitches, and we're going to make 3 double crochet stitches in every one of those front loops. So here, as you can see, this is my second one, and here's my third one. And as I'm doing that, see this yarn tail? It's actually on top of the hook, and that helps me weave it in as I go along. So this here is my third double crochet stitch inside this one front loop here. Now once we're done that, we're going to repeat that for every front loop until you get right back to this section here, and then we'll make a slip stitch into this very first double crochet stitch to finish off that first inner wrap layer with the white yarn. So I'll just show you once more. Here's my next front loop. I've got this yarn tail over the top of the hook, and I'm going to make simply 3 double crochet stitches inside here. And once you've done this, let's complete the entire round, and then we will make a slip stitch together. And now that we've finished that, I'm just doing my last double crochet inside this last front loop, 1 and 2, and then I'm going to connect to my very first double crochet stitch just like there, and I'm going to make a slip stitch into the loop on my hook. So there we go. I'm going to pull the yarn through just a little bit because I will weave in this yarn tail a little bit later to hide it. And then this was my other yarn tail that I started with. I wove it in as much as I could, and now I'm going to just cut it there because it has been woven in, so we don't need to worry about that now. And here we're now going to work with our cyan yarn, as you can see here. I'm going to just choose another spot that's not at the point where you can see right here, where you've got the different levels right there. So I'm just going to come back over here. Now in this first round for the blue or cyan yarn, or whatever choice of color you chose, all I'm going to do is make a single crochet stitch. So I'm just going to pull the yarn through first, chain 1, and then I'm going to make a single crochet stitch as my beginning single crochet stitch. Now I'm going to complete all single crochet stitches all the way around and then make a slip stitch at the end. So there should be a total of 42 single crochet stitches inside these front loops, and then make a slip stitch at the end. And here we are at the end of that round right there. We're just going to make a slip stitch now in this very first single crochet stitch we made in our cyan color. So I'm going to pull the yarn here, and then I'm going to pull it and go straight into my loop that was on the hook. Then I'm going to chain 1, and from here we're going to do exactly the same as what we did with this round here with the white. So I'm just going to cut this off. This is where I wove my yarn in, and now all I'm going to do is make 3 double crochet stitches in each single crochet stitch of the previous round. So here's the first one. Here is the second. Oops, coming up is now the second. And finally, our third double crochet stitch, just like that. So we're going to repeat that all the way around, and then we'll make a slip stitch to finish this off. And we're just finishing our final double crochet stitch in that last stitch. And we're going to now come to our very first double crochet stitch of the cyan color, and then just make another slip stitch as we did with the white. Then pull the yarn through once again and cut the yarn. It doesn't matter, you don't need to leave a huge yarn tail because again you'll be weaving this in very shortly. And there we finally have our bouquet. Let's just weave in these ends now so we can officially say we've finished the bouquet. And there we go. So we have now finished our beautiful bouquet with our 2 wrap layers as well. Now we need to crochet either the sunflowers or our roses. So I'm going to show you how to do maybe the sunflower.